Hi everybody, Night Breeze here. This video. I've been thinking about Star Wars lately, and I'm probably gonna piss people off on both sides on this, but you know I'll start off by saying this new trilogy is I've not seen the last one yet, but it isn't completely horrible as movies. Um, there, and I'm gonna explain why I say this, but I'm gonna start off. You go back, and we'll start with the um, prequels, or not? Yeah, we're gonna start with the prequels, and I'm gonna admit I like Jar Jar Binks. I thought he was a great character, and something a lot of people don't think about with him. If you got to look past the comedic, you know, Keystone Cop fall down, clumsiness, and the goofy voice. They gave him the accent sounded a little goofy to us. I understand that. However, how many of us know somebody that no matter how hard they try to do the right thing to help people, you know, to just be there for everybody, they just screw it up. You know, if you know, they'll try to move out of your way and move right in front of your way every single time, or they'll go to hand you a hammer and drop it on your foot. You know, or they'll say the completely wrong thing and just you know totally either piss you off or break you down. You're sitting there, you're crying, and just the weight of your world's on your shoulders, and they come up and just you know basically pile it on even worse while trying to help you. I know. I know people like that. To be honest, in a lot of ways, I am a person like that. So to me, if you look past the goofiness, he is a very relatable character. And they needed a character like him to bring this all about. He was the patsy. He was the character that, by trying to do the right thing, destroys the galaxy. You know, Jar Jar. If it wasn't for Jar Jar being convinced to put up the vote of no confidence for, the Chancellor, Palpatine would have never came into power. Or if he had, it would have been been a lot longer for it to happen, and more chance of it being discovered by the Jedi Council. Blah blah, on and on. You know, and then Anakin Skywalker. Again, I thought the portrayal was actually not as bad as people think. That's just my personal opinion. But Anakin, his biggest thing, he was afraid. How many of us would admit you have this great power, yet you can, by yourself you cannot save the person you love. Now you can say, well, he's not supposed to fall in love and all this, and yeah, though technically the Jedi could love. It was attachments, not the emotion, that was forbidden. At least that's my understanding from what I've read and everything else. But you tell me, you have a guy over here. Yeah, he may not be the nicest guy in the world, though he's actually doing a pretty good job of fooling people. And he kind of puts a bug in your ear that you know these people can't save the person you love more than anything else, but I can. I can show you how. You know, and once you start down the path, you have this great power to go with it. The power overwhelms you. You know, as I'm trying to remember his exact wording, but as Ben Kenobi puts it, it surrounds us. You know, I don't. But basically the power is just all there. It's everything. You tell me that you would not have at least considered going down that path. You know, the killing of the younglings, I can see that being overdone. But once rage and anger, you know, take control, you know, I don't know what I would do in that situation. You know, I've gone as far as he had at that point. You know, killing Mace Windu, or at least being responsible for Mace Windu's death. You know, he's already gone that far, and then he's told to do this. You know, I don't know. You know, I'm interested to see your comments on what you think you would do. So, you know, but that kind of now you fast forward to the original trilogy. I love the original trilogy. I am firmly in the corner. Han shot first, and I think that is actually a very important piece of Han Solo. People don't, you know, these newer kids that have grown up with the special editions and the, you know, all this, they don't, they really don't understand how important that is to the character of Han Solo. Though it isn't a complete just F you or that, because, you know, Greedo had already admitted he was going to kill Han. You know, I mean, he talks about taking the Falcon, and Han goes over my dead body. And Greedo's like, yep, that's the idea. Well, you know, so Han already knew Greedo was going to kill him. And he identified Greedo immediately by sight. You know, knew his name and everything else. So that says to me he's familiar with Greedo's way of work. So Han probably knew going in Greedo's going to shoot me. You know, as soon as he met him. So, but Han shot first, which helps portray Han as the man that, first and foremost, is about himself. You know, Chewie, you know, him and Chewie are about the only two things at that point Han truly cares about. You know, the money is, you know, as he puts it, it's all about the money. You know, he doesn't care about the rebellion or that. You know, if anything, the only reason he might be in favor of the rebellion is it makes smuggling more profitable. You know, and there's been a lot of smugglers that had that viewpoint over the years. So that leads to his development. You know, now I'm going to say spoiler alert. You know, though anybody that hasn't seen the original trilogy, I'm sorry, but you know, when Han comes back, you know, he leaves Yavin, but when he comes back to help Luke, he had absolutely nothing to gain there. That was character growth of an amazing setup. You know, great storytelling. And even after that, you know, you get into Empire. And there's still some of that asshole who, you know, cares about himself first and foremost, but he's growing. You know, he goes back out after Luke and, you know, basically gets told, you're going to die. And he's like, well, then I'll see you in hell. You know, he doesn't care. He's going to help his friend. And then the classic, you know, my understanding is it was an ad-lib line of "I love you," and with the response of "I know." That was, yeah, I understand that was Harrison Ford ad-libbing. Great, you know, great scene. You know, but it's still so that there's that part of him, that cocky, you know, side that's not fully willing to show, you know, what he's truly, you know, what's truly in his heart. You know, Jedi, he takes on the mission, and, you know, he's kind of grown to that point now. So, fast forward from there. You know, we've seen the redemption of Anakin Skywalker, you know, which again, you know, if you look, is mentioned multiple times. That Padme in the originals, or in the prequels, they're still good at him. I know, you know, Ben Kenobi, you know, knowing that or feeling there's more, still some good left in him, and Luke flat out, stating, they're still good. Such a you know, great redemption story. So now you fast forward again to the new series, and like I said, I have not seen the third one, so some of what I'm going to say may be contradicted in this third movie. Um, but Ray, I'll be honest. When I first saw, you know, the new series, you know, Force Awakens, I I was expecting. I could tell they weren't following it directly. The Skywalker stories from the Legends. With you know Luke's wife being killed and all this. Okay. You know, Granted, Ray, I think, came into her power a little strong, but by the same token, you know, the first Force users, how did they learn? You know, how did the power awaken within them? There was no teachers. It's for somebody, if they are strong enough, talented, or in themselves, then he or so I think there's a basis that you could argue that Ray is more in tuned with the nature of the Force, you know, without knowing it. Then Han and you know him leaving and going off on his own like that. That is entirely within character for Han Solo. His son not only turned to the dark side, but killed all these students. You know, Han Solo would feel, at least in my opinion of the character, like a complete failure. You know, he he helped raise a monster. So he goes back to the one thing that he was good at. Yeah. Leia throws herself into what she was good at. Diplomacy. You know, the that sort of stuff. The princess stuff, so to speak. Han goes back to smuggling. Goes back to that life of an outlaw, criminal, or however you want to put it. And that leads us to Kylo's fall. People talk about, Luke and that. Luke was never as strong emotionally as people want to think he was. Yeah, he resisted the Emperor, and Vader trying to turn him. However, watch Jedi. He comes so close to failing. It was just a last moment thing where he thought for a second and was able to do it. His emotions came very close to getting the better of him. You go back even to Empire. His friends are in danger. He can feel their pain. So emotionally, Luke makes the decision to stop his training to go help him, despite the fact that Yoda tells him, "Don't do it. You're going to make it worse." You know. So that's kind of my view on that. Now, I will say the second one, and I know I'm not the bright. I can't remember off the top of my head the name of it. Last Jedi. You know, of course, you have Luke reliving what happened there, and yes, I can see it completely in character that if he thought Kylo was going to follow the path of Anakin, even though he managed to save Anakin and redeem him, I think it's completely in character for him to have that moment of weakness where he considers killing his own nephew to prevent the rise of another Darth Vader or Emperor. And I also see it as completely in character for him to stop at the last minute before he did it. You know, but just enough to bring this whole situation on. I see that as completely within the character of Luke Skywalker. Was there flaws? Yes. And Rey's training, he left it a lot to her. Which, again, I think it's the only way he could. He didn't have. He was doubting himself. He was even doubting the Force to some extent. You know, and he was I don't think they actually showed it. I have to rewatch them, but I'm sure he thought back to Obi-Wan Kenobi. You know, talking about how he thought he knew better than Yoda and took on Anakin's training, even though Yoda said no. And he failed. And I think that played a role in Luke's thought process. Now, going into some of the deeper stuff, with the hyperspace jump attack thing, well, that's, yeah. I have a lot of issue with that. That's, yeah. But I don't know the technical side of the ships or, even really how the hyperspace jump works. I do know that, that it can be dangerous. You can go jump through a star. I mean, that's Han Solo mentions that we can bounce too close to a star. I know large scale gravity wells are capable of pulling people out of hyperspace. So there is the possibilities there of a physical presence, and how much time does it take for the jump to actually go from the time you start until you are in hyperspace? I don't know. Like I said, I don't think they were terrible movies. And Alex, some of the stuff, I'm just, yeah. I don't know. Some of it just kind of went a little too far, especially in The Last Jedi, And yeah, I kind of thought the way they handled Rose Pico could have been done a lot better. Either leave her out or have write that side story a little better. It just didn't seem to flow well with me. But that's just kind of my thoughts on it, and I'm interested in hearing what you have to say. I'm sure I'll piss people off on both sides. Those that love the new Star Wars and those that hate the new Star Wars. And like I said, some of what my thoughts on the newer, things may be contradicted completely by the new movie. I just haven't seen it, and I haven't seen, what is it? Yeah, I can't think of the name. Rogue One or Solo. I did watch The Mandalorian. I really enjoy The Mandalorian, and I love Baby Yoda. I think it's an awesome character. And I want a video game where you can explode Jawas. That was one of the greatest scenes, to me. I just loved it. For those of you that haven't watched The Mandalorian, that may not make much sense to you, but give it a try. I understand not everyone wants to pay for Disney Plus, but if you are willing to pay for Disney Plus, and it has some great movies, not just Star Wars, great Disney TV shows and all that, but Mandalorian is actually good Star Wars to me. You know, it's got a great mix of the fantasy aspect, the sci-fi aspect, and just all around fun show to watch. Good action, whole 9 yards. So that was just kind of my thoughts. Thank you all for tuning in, give me your time. Um, Leave me a like, or if you enjoyed it, leave me a like and maybe tell your friends. If you didn't like the video or you liked the video, either way, drop me a comment. Let me know, and I'm interested in your viewpoints. So that you have a wonderful night, everybody, and I'll be with you again soon.